here seen The Wizard of Oz as an adult? So then you know it is the gayest movie in all of gaydom. I mean, no wonder we call them the Friends of Dorothy, right? Gay, all of them. I mean, you've got the Scarecrow, who is this mindless twink that just dances his way mindlessly through life, depending on his best friend to get him where he needs to go. Then there's the Tin Man, who has no heart and is always begging his friends to help lube him up. And of course, how could I forget the Cowardly Lion? The sissy Nellie Bottom, who's too concerned about how other people feel about him the entire time.
Tonight, a CBS special presentation, The Wizard of Oz.
The arrival every year of The Wizard of Oz on TV was a part of my liturgical calendar. We had Christmas, we had Easter, we had The Wizard of Oz.
Friday, take a magical journey over the rainbow with Dorothy and her friends.
In the days before home video, you only had one opportunity every year to see The Wizard of Oz, and you had to catch it while it was on. For the year in between, the best you could do was reenact it.
We're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz.
There were these kids in this house. There was a commercial for a detergent, and they were putting on the play in their house for their parents.
Congratulations! You're playing the Scarecrow. And you're the Tin Man. What?
You can take everyday objects like red shoes or a broom or a funnel for a hat, and you can reenact the movie.
So I got my mother's black negligee and her red sexy lady pumps, and I set them over here. And then I would go and get my father's overalls that he had when he would work in the yard and set them over here. And then I would go and perform the entire show. And I would make my entire family sit and watch it and give me a standing ovation. Yes, I've always been a little narcissistic.
In every neighborhood, there's one kid who is the boss kid, the one kid who collects the kids from the other families. And I would say, okay, people, listen, here's what we're gonna do. Here's the casting. You're gonna be the wizard, you're gonna be Dorothy, you're gonna be the Tin Man, etc. Places, everybody? Got it? Let's go. My name is Gregory Maguire, and I'm the author of the novel called Wicked, The Life and Times of the Wicked Witch of the West. Playing in the backyard after The Wizard of Oz was really the beginning of my writing Wicked some 35 years before the fact. And I tried doing cross-gender casting, much earlier than it was popular to do. I also introduced new characters after a while. I would say, all right, we're gonna do this one more time. We're gonna switch things up now. You can be Dorothy, you can be the Tin Man, you be the wizard, and you can be Captain Hook. There'd always be some bloody fundamentalist kindergartner who would say, no, Captain Hook doesn't belong in this story. And I would say, excuse me, I'm in charge. In this version, Captain Hook is here. I think The Wizard of Oz is America's first great fairy tale. There are cultural foundation stones upon which American identity rests. And The Wizard of Oz is one of them. It has been enhanced in the public imagination because of the 1939 film. But in fact, in 1900, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz by L. Frank Baum, it was an immediate hit. Why? Why? It's a weird story.
I particularly love The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, first edition, illustrated by W.W. Dinslow, because Dorothy is this cute little fat girl in a baby doll dress, and that spoke to my chubby little heart. She was, did you see her? She was fat. About 2 foot tall, about 3 feet wide. Hi, my name is Ginger Minj. I am drag queen aficionado extraordinaire, and I've been obsessed with The Wizard of Oz since before I can remember. I absolutely love the film, The Wizard of Oz, but I really fell in love with The Wonderful Wizard of Oz and the entire book series by L. Frank Baum. It is littered with queer references. Literally, the word queer appears in the book series numerous times.
It's a story about self-reliance. Dorothy has to be reliant upon herself because she has no magic. She has no particular hearts or brains or courage. She has a certain gritty determination to just get on with it.
There's a reason we call it the American fairy tale. It addresses these very basic kind of human needs and ideas about human desire and self-knowledge. So there's a kind of symbolism and in its basics, an elegance to the story that can speak to a lot of people. I'm Ryan Bunch. I am president of the International Wizard of Oz Club. I'm also the author of Oz and the Musical, performing the American fairy tale. By some time after World War II, Friends of Dorothy had become a code phrase used by queer people, primarily by gay men, to identify themselves to each other. Are you a friend of Dorothy? Why, yes, I am.
You know, I run with a whole bunch of different groups of gays in my life, and the younger ones tend to think the classic cinema is the Golden Girls. A lot of people think that the term friend of Dorothy stems from that.
Good morning, Dorothy.
Don't start, Rose, okay?
Oh, I'm sorry. That good morning crack was way out of line.
But I know from experience that it was a term way before the Golden Girls ever existed.
Oh, you're the best friends anybody ever had.
We don't know exactly what its origins are, but it certainly becomes associated with the Wizard of Oz.
We know each other now, don't we?
That's right, we do. To Oz? To Oz.
Dorothy, this all-American girl, collected this caravan of queer people, and she saw the good in them and wanted to help them become their best.
Then I'm sure to get a brain, a heart,
A home.
the knife.
Oh, we're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz.
And I think that we as queer people, we appreciate that. We look for that in the people that we associate with because we want to feel not only protected, but encouraged so that we can be the best that we can be.
The journey to Oz becomes a metaphor for leaving the farm, wherever it is that you grow up queer and misfit, and going to New York City or San Francisco, and that's your Emerald City where you connect with your community and where you are accepted. Wizard of Oz is often described as a camp film. Camp is a sensibility that comes out of queer culture, and it's often described as expressing both sincere affection for something at the same time that it sends it up a little bit. And there's a lot in the movie that lends itself to this. You have the Scarecrow when Dorothy arrives at the intersection where he's hanging on his pole, says,
Of course, people do go both ways.
and you have Glinda exhorting the Munchkins to
Come out, wherever you are.
And these are phrases that do kind of get picked up as part of gay culture. And I like to think of Dorothy as the star of the show. She's the diva. And like the Cowardly Lion, the Scarecrow, and the Tin Man are sort of like her adoring chorus boys, the friends of Dorothy, if you like, in the film. Because there's something about the camp acting that registers as queer. People often identify the Cowardly Lion as being a queer character.
Yeah, it's sad, believe me, missy, when you're born to be a sissy.
And so you do have this character who's always pretending to be brave and kind of doing that little woof, kind of like growl that he does.
Here, go away and let us alone.
Oh, scared, huh? Afraid, huh?
But we know that he's very insecure about being cowardly.
You're right, I am a coward. I haven't any courage at all. I even scare myself.
He kind of twitters at times, and at other times he has this big kind of bellowing machine gun vibrato.
If I were king of the forest.
He's kind of expressing kind of like machismo and delicacy in alternation.
Not queen, not duke, not prince.
There are some gender codings in those expressions. We see him trying to perform kind of masculinity, but his feminine side keeps coming out.
You could say that again.
My favorite character is always going to be the Cowardly Lion because I felt exactly like him growing up. I felt like I had it within me to kind of go out there and take on the world and be who I wanted to be, but I was always too scared to do it until I found a group of people around me that encouraged me to really find my voice and find my roar and not be scared of other people. Now, I thought Judy Garland was just incredible as Dorothy. You know, some people think that her acting style really got her kind of carried away, but I thought she really brought the house down.
I think maybe a combination of her persona as Judy Garland and this kind of idea of her being Dorothy were really powerful for people looking for a certain kind of inspiration.
A lot of people wonder why Judy Garland is such an icon in the LGBTQIA+ world, and I think it's because we love a tragic heroine. We love somebody who has the weight of the world on their shoulders and somehow still seems to be fabulous underneath all of it.
The classic era of Judy Garland fandom in the gay community is in the 1950s and 1960s. She was mostly doing concerts rather than movies. And she was, you know, singing her repertoire, including Over the Rainbow. Judy Garland concerts were a place where gay men who were fans of her could come together and meet at a time when homophobia and the closet were probably as powerful as they've ever been.
I think a lot of us in the community, we can relate to her because we've always been told that we're too fat, we're not pretty enough, or anything, any kind of criticism you can think of was piled onto this young lady, and somehow she still became a shining star in the midst of it all.
There's a myth that the Stonewall riots broke out in 1969 because of the tensions in the community after Garland's death and her funeral. While there may or may not be something to that, it does show how Garland represented a certain time in queer history when a lot of people were in the closet and did need to look to icons for a certain kind of survival strategy.
I really think that that's what the books, the film, the whole world of Oz really represents for queer people. It's a place where you can just be happy. It's the other side of the rainbow. And we always look to the rainbow as this beacon of hope and light in the queer community because it is a pathway to happiness and success.
I think we can think about the symbolism of the rainbow in a lot of ways. The rainbow also becomes part of the queer mythology of Oz. Although the rainbow flag was not inspired by the Wizard of Oz, people certainly make that connection. And for example, when LGBTQ choruses, which are an institution in the community, sing Over the Rainbow, that's where you'll find me. People wave rainbow flags and make that connection. The rainbow really has turned out to be a really powerful symbol that goes with the song that is so closely associated with the Wizard of Oz and is such a part of our culture as a song in itself.
I had just begun to think about a possible figure to use for my exploration about the nature of evil. And then I thought of the Wicked Witch of the West. She came to me as in a vision. It was Margaret Hamilton, and she was coming down from the clouds, and she was saying, "I'll get you and your little dog, Tata or Titi or Tata," whatever it's called. And I thought, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, I have had a vision.
Wicked began as a novel by Gregory Maguire that was published in 1995. And it was sort of an adult version of Oz with complex politics and a lot of philosophy in it.
I knew enough about the original novel to know that L. Frank Baum wasn't concerned about deep character motivation. He wasn't concerned about backstory. He just needed a foil for Dorothy. So therefore, it was really all open territory for me.
Stephen Schwartz, the composer, and Winnie Holtzman, the writer, both became enamored of the idea of making a musical as soon as they saw the book without reading it.
Stephen Schwartz said, ever since 1939, everyone in the universe knows that people in Oz sing. That's what they do. That's why Wicked would make a great musical. Being a gay man, I was thinking like, Broadway!
What Wicked does is it gives the witch the opportunity to be the heroine of a musical. In a way, she gets to take on the role that Dorothy would usually get. So there's something in this idea of giving the witch her moment that appeals to people. When I first heard they were going to make the movie, I couldn't imagine what that was going to look like.
I was so happy to visit the film set for Wicked. I was amazed at the degree of particularity of the set design and the artistic design. I walked into the throne room of the wizard. I saw Madame Morrible's study. I saw the forest in which the yellow brick road was snaking its way. What Universal Studios built and created to expand and create the world of Oz was beyond the capacities of my prodigious imagination to envision.
I think that Wicked has become this 21st century version of Oz that really keeps the mythology alive by once again repeating the story with a difference.
The story of The Wizard of Oz is thought to be the story of Dorothy, an orphan girl from Kansas who gets sent away to a really miserable orphanage called Oz. There she suffers all kinds of cruelties and has to make her own way out of that establishment and back to something that is supposed to be more nutritional for her, but maybe isn't.
There are so many interpretations of The Wizard of Oz, and I think that's part of its power, that it lends itself through its symbolism and its basic storytelling elements to whatever you want to explain using The Wizard of Oz.
There's a famous song in The Wizard of Oz, Over the Rainbow, and Dorothy sings it at the beginning of the story, thinking that she's craving for a land of lemon drops and rainbows. But what she doesn't know is that in any dream, there's another verse to the song. And what nobody sang to her, or she might not have wanted to leave Kansas, was, somewhere over the rainbow, she's there too, dun 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 dun. And the dreams that you're scared to dream really do come true. It's a bloody nightmare.
And so Oz is available for a lot of different interpretations, and then it also becomes a myth of the LGBTQ community.
It is still so enduring because it really encompasses what we feel as a people. Everyone has felt like they don't fit in. Everyone has seen their world as this black and white prison and is looking for the adventure and the color to be added to it.
Because it's a musical, because you can sing along, because you can dance along, because you can skip along, because you can recreate it using those embodied scripts that it gives you. It's a participatory fairy tale. And anybody can put themselves in it, not only in principle, but in acting it out.
No one in the story of The Wizard of Oz is without value. No one in the story of the wonderful Wizard of Oz is without value. We are not told this often enough in our day-to-day lives, and it is one of the blessings of that story and one of the reasons we return to it.
Dorothy, I've watched you from afar, pardon me, but you're a silver screen shining star when you say au revoir.
Mic check, please, Ginger.
Oh, yes, I'm very excited to talk to you about all these gay things.
One more time.
Oh, yes, I'm even more excited to talk a second time about all these queer things.
I love you, Dorothy. Your face is like a sunny day. In the nighttime, could it be you steal the darkness away? The bells chime, Dorothy. Dorothy, Dorothy.